Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Carrow Road. Norwich City back in action today in the League Cup, hosting, of course, Birmingham City here tonight. We're expecting a heavily changed Norwich City lineup, probably about 10 changes when the team news comes through, which it should have done just now, and I can read that for you. And it lines up like this when I can open it. Here we go. There we go. It is 10 changes. Gabriel Sara makes his Norwich City debut, and Aaron Ramsey on the bench. So lineup with Gunn in goal, McCallum, Hanley, Tompkinson and Sorensen as a back four. I'm reading this off the club graphic, which has it as a back four. Gibbs, Dowell and Sara as a midfield three, with Hernandez on the left, Sonali on the right, and Jordan Hugill up front. The subs bench is Tim Krul, Max Aarons, Andrew Omobamidele, Kenny McLean, Marcelino Nunez, Aaron Ramsey, Milo Rashica, Josh Sargent and Timu Pukki. So that's looks like a 4-3-3 if we're going by the club graphic. And probably, as we expected, full debuts for Sara, Tompkinson and Liam Gibbs. Obviously, two academy graduates in there, one new signing, another new signing on the bench. That's probably about as we expected from this Norwich City lineup tonight, as Dean Smith shuffles his pack and gets a look at perhaps some different options.
Yeah, and Jakob Sorensen's versatility goes to new levels there, doesn't it? Right back, I'm sure he probably has filled in there. It feels like he's played everywhere other than keeper in his Norwich career, but a start at right back, that feels like that's another string to his ever-expanding bow. I mean, Dean Smith, funnily enough, in regards to Dimi Yanulis, minimum 8 weeks, could be longer out with the ankle ligament damage. He referenced McCallum and also threw in Sorensen as the potential options within the current squad. Didn't rule out maybe looking into the window as well if they need to, if they feel they need to. But tonight, we see him on the opposite side of a four. And yeah, you know, pretty close to what I thought, you know, he might go with. The only one I probably thought might stay in is Omobamidele, because obviously Hanley, having got sent off at Cardiff on the opening weekend, it feels like him and Omobamidele are Dean Smith's first choice centre-backs. Maybe this is opportunity tonight just to build on that partnership, but you know, he's gone the other route, and as he said to us yesterday, you know, ultimately this is a difficult balancing act, this 11 he's named tonight, because he feels he's got a squad capable of winning games, and for him it's still very much about bringing them all up to a level, minutes-wise, time on the pitch, that they could do a job for him in the Championship, which is, you know, as we all know, is the bigger priority this week. It's that game at Hull now looming large. But tonight, of course, Sara is going to be the eye-catching headline. We knew he was going to start, but you know, Gibbs, he's got an opportunity tonight. I don't think you'd say McLean and Sorensen in a central role have really, have nailed down, you know, positions in the centre of the park prior to obviously Nunez, Sara and Isaac Hayden hopefully back in the mix. So there's a young man tonight who could, you know, build on what has already been quite an impressive pre-season, as Dean Smith alluded to. And then further forward, well, I'm sure Jordan Hugill will be relishing this opportunity. 6 goals in pre-season. Dean's gone back to the tried and trusted of Timu Pukki in the first 2 games. We won't open that debate about how you get the best out of him, and they certainly haven't done that thus far. But you know, tonight Jordan Hugill weighs in. Then there's a growing conversation about, do you need to configure the team to get him in? Because if he looks like he's capable of scoring goals as a collective in those first 2 Championship games, that hasn't really been the case. So yeah, as always with these type of games, it's about the mindset, really, isn't it? And you would think those players really will be very keen to lay down a marker, because they'll have watched the first 2 games in the main and felt, you know, maybe there's an opportunity for me here, because they haven't really, as we know, you know, haven't really set the world alight thus far. So yeah, of that 11, Sara is obviously the one we'll look at closely, but Sonali, Hernandez and Hugill, could they push themselves forward tonight? Time will tell.
Yeah, I'll just read you the Birmingham City 11 for this evening. They've got Etheridge in goal, Williams, Colin, Roberts and Trusty back four. Brian Bellingham, which is the Joe Bellingham, the brother of Jude Bellingham, of course, now at Borussia Dortmund, and attracting interest from pretty much everyone in the world game. James, Chang, Leko and Zhukovic, their starting lineup. G-Cock, Friend, Woods, Bakuna, Scott Hogan, Sam Cosgrove, Tate Campbell and Ryan Sturck on the bench for them. So that's a fair few changes for Birmingham as well. I guess the obvious point to start, Pad, is with Gabriel Sara, isn't it? We've got a very, very small glimpse of him on Saturday. He came on pretty late on in that game against Wigan. We're going to get a bigger look at him today. I mean, in terms of kind of opportunities, I suppose, this feels like a major one possibly for him, given we're yet to really see him. He's come back from an injury. He's ahead of schedule. Dean Smith has been keen to keep the pressure off his shoulders, but there's automatically going to be some when he's sort of thrust into an 11 because of, I suppose, the new signing factor, but also probably the fee factor as well.
Yeah, and for me, it's his nationality as well. Brazilian conjures images of some, sublime magicians down the years, whatever your age. If you're old like me or younger like you, Connor, I'm sure we can all think of Brazilian players who've lit up the game. England may well be the crucible and the home of football, but Brazil is kind of, it feels that's a love affair with the beautiful game. And don't put too much pressure on him. I'm already putting him in a long lineage with Ronaldo, Pele, Ronaldinho, et al. So maybe we'll dial it down a bit. But you can't get away from the fact that this is a guy who's coming from a very well respected and recognisable Brazilian club in Sao Paulo. The fee as well does bring expectation. And also the fact that we know clearly Dean Smith identified that midfield was a major area of concern in terms of what he felt he didn't have in the building. And he's the one they've gone out and recruited at no little cost for Norwich. That clearly. And everything we're hearing is that this guy has the potential to provide some of the missing answers that Dean Smith clearly felt he had in this group of midfield players. And, at his age, the athleticism, Dean Smith quote about his numbers, his running stats are ridiculous, or words to that effect. That tells you we've got an athlete on our hands, a box-to-box goal-scoring midfielder, very good in the air as well. So I think we're right to get excited, but by the same token, it is his first start since March, I think, when he did his original ankle injury. And that's even before you factor in he's in a new country, a new footballing culture. So there will have to be a bit of patience. But you'd still hope tonight we see glimpses of a player, a bit like I thought Núñez at the weekend, glimpses of, I can see why Norwich have gone for that player. And if they allowed a period of time to adapt, and of course that's easier said than done when they're not picking up the results we feel they need to be picking up. But if there is a bit of leeway to these two players, they're clearly talented players. And you would hope one, if not both, can really leave a lasting impression on Norwich's season this season. And tonight is really, I know he had a little cameo at the weekend, but tonight is the first chapter in Gabriel Zara's Norwich City story. And it's actually just popped into my head, this stage last season, I think it was maybe a round later on in the competition when Norwich entered as a Premier League team, but Bournemouth here, Carrow Road, we went away talking about a potential superstar in Christos Jolis, didn't we? 2 goals, I think he scored that night, 2 assists, 6-2 win off the top of my head. And we all know how that one panned out. So, even if he does catch the eye tonight, I think we just need to remember that, yes, that it clearly feels that they've got a talented player, but he will need time. And, but it is exciting. I've actually come to, I missed the first 2 games for family holiday reasons. And genuinely am excited coming to the ground tonight because I think, in players like Sara, Núñez on the bench, some of these younger players as well, I know that there's that underlying concern about elements of a Dean Smith Norwich and what it looks like and how it feels and what they do in possession and out of possession. But you just look down the squad and they have players more than capable of being melded into an effective force at championship level for me. And, that is the challenge now for Dean Smith, Shakespeare, Bramley, Alan Russell. Can they extract what feels like very decent resource into a unit that really looks like it could achieve something this season? We haven't, I think it's fair to say, seen enough of that in the first 2 league games. While it is only the cup tonight and there'll no points at stake, I think they could take a step forward tonight, and then if they can roll it onto Hull and get a positive result there, it really does feel maybe the season is up and running.
Yep, absolutely. I wanted to talk about Jacob Sorensen as well, Jakob Sorensen, because he obviously first 2 games the performances that have come from him haven't been particularly great. We saw one incident in the first half here on Saturday where he was dispossessed and it gifted, I think, Callum Lang a wonderful opportunity. Tim Krul had to produce an excellent save, and then obviously Norwich made another mistake and conceded soon after. But this is a new role for him at right back, I think. I don't think we've seen him at right back in Norwich City colours. Having a player like him, and Dean Smith described him as human polyfiller yesterday, which is quite an apt description, but having someone who can play a multitude of positions when you've got Max Aarons and you haven't really got a reserve beyond that is it's very, I suppose, useful for Norwich City in the squad, and you can see moving forward, particularly when there's a lot of debate around that left back position and cover there in Yanulis's absence, why Dean Smith wants to see him in a range of positions as well moving forward.
There's no doubt about it. I mean, we're talking there about players who could really set it alight for Norwich in the Championship this season. And you only need to draw a parallel with the last Championship title win. You also, for every Emi Buendia and Timu Pukki in their pomp, you do need a Jakob Sorensen playing 20-odd games, as Dean Smith said yesterday, at left back when, Javier Quintilla didn't really come off initially and they got one or two other injuries. You need those type of polyfiller players. It feels like a bit of an insult, but it actually underlines the value to the cause of these players. And 46 games, -2 now, and it's a grueling, endurance test, and you need reliable. Okay, they might not catch the headlines week in, week out, but you need players like Sorensen in the group if you're going to go on and achieve what they hope they're going to achieve. And he's probably frustrated in himself because, we've talked about he's brought to the club as a defensive midfielder, central midfielder. For various reasons, he's never really had an opportunity to establish himself. He gets 2 games back-to-back, and I think it's safe to say he hasn't really put down the marker he needed to, particularly with Sara, Núñez and Hayden on the horizon. So, if you're Jakob Sorensen, the fact that you can play in a range of positions, I think, retains you within Dean Smith's thoughts, because I'm not seeing enough to feel that he's got it in him to be a regular starter in the centre of the park, given the increased competition in that area of the squad. So, if he can fill in comfortably, and he didn't look phased at left back in that extended spell 2 seasons ago. He made a passable impression of a centre back when required at Premier League level. I fully expect him to do a more than decent job at right back tonight if it is right back. But he'll be frustrated maybe in himself that he hasn't really taken the step forward he felt he needed to in the first 2 games, because he's not daft. He will see the players that Dean Smith's brought to the club when fit. I think we'd all expect Hayden, Sara, Núñez to be 3 of the first names on the team sheet, because they're Dean Smith signings, they're Dean Smith players. He went out and got them. So if that's the case, and you're Jakob Sorensen, your ability to play in other areas of the pitch, I think, is your greatest asset at this moment in time.
Yeah, I mean, we could go down the squad list and speak about all the players involved tonight. We've just picked out a handful there. A couple of things to mention tonight as well. First and foremost, in terms of this game, tonight's game is the Community Sports Foundation takeover fixture. That means a portion of ticket sales from tonight's game are going to help in their work in the community, and of course to drive inclusion with people with disabilities and otherwise, which, given the issues in the world at the moment, the work they do is very important. So that's a very positive thing to mention. In terms of the game tonight, no extra time if this one ends in a draw, straight to penalties. Dean Smith, as we've read out, has named full 9 substitutes. I think Birmingham have named 8, I think. But he can make 5 subs as per usual. The draw for the second round, and hopefully that's relevant to Norwich City come the end of this evening, will take place tomorrow. So we'll find out, should Norwich City progress, who they play in the second round of this competition tomorrow evening. I think that's all. So I'll leave you again with the Norwich team. It's Angus going in goal. Sorensen, we believe, are right back. Hanley and Tompkinson, the 2 central defenders. Sam McCallum at left back. A midfield 3 of Liam Gibbs, Gabriel, Sara and Kieran Dow. Onel Hernandez on the left. Daniel Sonali on the right, with Jordan Hugill up front. A suspension of Tim Krul, Max Aarons, Andrew Omabamidele, Milo Rashica, Aaron Ramsey, Timu Pukki, Kenny McLean, Josh Sargent and Marcelino Núñez. So that's Norwich City starting 11 for tonight. Pinkin.com, the place to go. I'll be on live blog duty this evening. You can get a free trial for the app by going onto our website. It's a tab right in the top left that says Pinkin Plus. Click on that, follow all the details, and you can take out a month's free trial to activate loads of exclusive content, not just written pieces, but videos and podcasts as well. So be sure to do that now. Why not? Before the game. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you very soon. We're going to leave you with a glorious shot of Carrow Road. It's a wonderful night, I think, to be watching football rather than playing with it, given the weather. But let's see how Norwich City get on. Thank you very much for watching. See you soon.